Great Expectations is one of Charles Dickens' most famous novels. Published in 1861, it tells the story of a young orphan named Pip and his journey through ambition, love, and redemption. The novel explores themes of wealth, social class, and personal growth, making it a timeless classic. Pip was a poor orphan, living with his strict sister and her kind husband, Joe, a blacksmith. His sister often treated him harshly, while Joe was his only source of kindness. One foggy evening, while walking through the graveyard, where his parents were buried, he was grabbed by a terrifying man. The man was an escaped convict, cold and starving. "Bring me food and a file to cut my chains, or you'll regret it." Terrified, Pip ran home and stole some bread, meat, and a file from Joe's workshop. The next morning, he secretly brought them to the convict, who devoured the food desperately. The man looked at Pip with unexpected kindness before disappearing into the mist. Later, the authorities caught the convict, but before being taken away, he confessed to stealing the food himself, protecting Pip from any suspicion. Pip was relieved, but never forgot the encounter. Time passed, and Pip's life took an unexpected turn. One day, he was invited to the mansion of Miss Havisham, a wealthy but mysterious woman. She had been abandoned on her wedding day and had never recovered. She still wore her old wedding dress, and her dining table remained set with a rotting wedding feast. The clocks in her house were all stopped at the exact moment she had received the news of her betrayal. There, Pip met Estella, a beautiful but cold-hearted girl raised by Miss Havisham to break men's hearts as revenge against love. Pip was captivated by her elegance and confidence, but Estella treated him with disdain. "You are too common and unworthy." Determined to win her love, Pip decided he would become a gentleman. He started feeling ashamed of his simple life and his connection to Joe, who had always been his protector. One day, Pip's life changed forever. A secret benefactor left him a huge fortune and sent him to London to become a gentleman. Pip believed Miss Havisham was behind it all, preparing him to marry Estella. Overjoyed, he eagerly left his humble life behind, promising Joe and his friend Biddy that he would return one day. In London, Pip lived in luxury and was tutored by Mr. Herbert Pocket, a kind young man who became his close friend. His new guardian, Mr. Jaggers, was a powerful and secretive lawyer who managed his finances. As Pip embraced his new life, he became arrogant, looking down on his old home and the people who had cared for him. He rarely visited Joe, and when he did, he felt embarrassed by him. But deep down, he felt a growing sense of guilt. Despite his wealth and education, he remained restless because Estella was still distant. She had grown into a beautiful woman, but her heart was as cold as ever. Then, one stormy night, Pip received an unexpected visitor who was the escaped convict from his childhood. To Pip's shock, the man named Magwitch was actually his true benefactor. All the money Pip had received had come from this poor criminal, not from Miss Havisham. Magwitch had made a fortune in Australia, and sent it all to Pip out of gratitude for the kindness Pip had shown him years ago. Everything Pip believed about his destiny had been a lie. Pip was horrified. He had spent years dreaming of marrying Estella and becoming a gentleman, thinking Miss Havisham had guided his fate. But now he realized his wealth had come from a criminal, a man society rejected. To make matters worse, Estella was not Miss Havisham's daughter, but the child of criminals. She had been raised without love, and was now trapped in a cruel marriage with the arrogant Bentley Drummle. Miss Havisham, filled with regret, finally saw the damage she had done. She begged Pip for forgiveness, realizing she had ruined both Estella's life and his. But before she could make amends, a fire broke out in her mansion, engulfing her in flames. Though she was rescued, she suffered severe burns and died from her injuries soon after. Pip lost everything: his fortune, his dreams, and his illusions. But he had changed. He no longer cared about money or status. When the authorities captured Magwitch, Pip devoted himself to helping him. The old man, who had once been feared, was now weak and dying in prison. Pip stayed by his side, offering him comfort in his final moments. "Your daughter, Estella, is alive." With a peaceful smile, Magwitch passed away. Broke and humbled, Pip returned home, only to discover that Jo had married Biddy, the kind woman who had always cared for him. After Mrs. Jo's passing, Jo and Biddy found comfort in each other and built a new life together. Though Pip was happy for them, he realized how much he had taken them for granted. Years later, Pip met Estella again. She had suffered greatly in her unhappy marriage, but her pain had made her a kinder person. "I have changed. I am not the same as before." As they walked together through the ruins of Miss Havisham's mansion, Pip wondered if this was a new beginning for them. Pip's journey was one of loss and self-discovery. At first, he had believed that wealth and social status were the keys to happiness. But in the end, he learned that love, kindness, and loyalty mattered more. Had Pip never received his fortune, perhaps he would have lived a humble but content life with Jo and Biddy. But without his suffering, he would never have truly understood the value of what he had lost. Estella, too, had transformed. Raised to be heartless, she had only learned love through suffering. She and Pip were no longer the same people they had once been. Could they find happiness together now? The novel leaves their future open-ended, allowing us to wonder, can people truly change? And what is more valuable, great expectations or a simple, honest life? Great Expectations is a story of ambition, regret, and redemption. Does true greatness come from wealth and status, or a kind heart and loyalty? If you were Pip, what would you have done?